Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you guys what to look out for when you're buying a used 2015 to 2018 Mitsubishi Triton. So this will be the MQ series of the Triton. I'm just going to be showing you some of the things to look out for when buying a used one, some of the common problems that I have with them, and we'll go through the recalls that these vehicles have had on them out as well. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the issues with the exhaust system on these cars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show up some photos now of the issues with the exhaust system, and then we're going to go through some of the other issues. What I'm going to do is for this video, I'm going to use some photos as I go through just to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about and give you a really good idea on what you need to look out for with these Tritons. So we'll show you the first video now, which is going to be of the exhaust manifold issue, and then we'll go through the rest of them. Hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at with the Mitsubishi Triton, this is on the 2.4 litre turbo diesel engine. So currently I'm showing you a photo of the engine bay of the vehicle. A couple of issues that we have noticed with the Mitsubishi Triton is the failure of the exhaust gaskets around the turbo, where the turbo mounts to the exhaust manifold and where the turbo mounts to the exhaust. So these gaskets are common to fail. When they do fail, they tend to crack the gaskets in a very thin little crack up through the gasket, and then what you'll get is under load when you sort of first take off and the engine is cold. The engine will almost make, it sounds almost like a belt squealing, or some people say that it sounds like an engine squealing sound. So what this is basically it's air rushing out through the crack in the gasket. When you take a lot of air and you try and force it through a very small little crack in the gasket, it creates that sort of high-pitched screaming belt squealing noise. So the next thing with the exhaust side of these 2.4 litre turbo diesel Tritons is the exhaust manifolds themselves. So I'll show you this photo now. So this photo is of a cracked exhaust manifold. I have seen over 10 of these Tritons crack exhaust manifolds. The kilometers on these vehicles when these manifolds crack varies greatly. I've seen vehicles where the exhaust manifold cracks at 30,000 kilometers, and I've seen vehicles where the manifold doesn't crack until 130,000 kilometers. There's no sort of kilometer range where this failure happens. Some vehicles I've seen do 200,000 kilometers and they've never had an exhaust manifold. Like I said, I've also seen vehicles which have only done 30,000 kilometers that have cracked one of these exhaust manifolds. I've also seen vehicles that have already previously had the manifold replaced actually crack a manifold a second time. So really important thing to look at. Have a look down between those two covers that you can see in the photo. Get a torch and shine it on the actual exhaust manifold itself and make sure there's no signs of cracking. Some bad things that can happen if these exhaust manifolds do crack is you'll get a very fumey smell, very exhaust fume smell in the cab of the vehicle. It can actually blow smoke out of underneath the bonnet, which can be quite alarming when you're driving. And it will also leave a lot of black residue or soot around the engine bay, which obviously makes your engine bay very dirty, makes the bottom of the bonnet very dirty, and just not a good look overall. Okay, so another thing we're going to look at with the vehicle is the interior. So the photo you'll see on the screen at the moment is of the base of the driver's seat. On the outer edge of these driver's seats, it's really common for the seat to start to fray, wear out, or actually tear open after a fair bit of use. This is caused by your leg sliding over and back over the edge of the seat. The material for the seat linings are made out of is very thin, and after they average around about 60,000 kilometers, you'll start to see heavy wear or actually tearing on that outer edge of the seat. Seat bases are fairly cheap. You can buy one for about $350 for a genuine one, but you can also get the seat reupholstered as well if you need be. Just a common thing that happens with them due to the low quality material and how thin the material on the driver's seat is, they do wear out, they do fray, and they do actually eventually start to split open. So when you're looking at one of these second hand, just have a look at the driver's seat and make sure it's not torn. Another thing that you'll notice with these Tritons is down on the lower edge of the door, on the inside, so basically where your door seal is, you'll notice that the paint actually wears off where your foot or your leg rubs against the paintwork of the car. Not a big issue, certainly not one that is going to have any adverse effects on the vehicle, but if you're one of the people like me where you really care about the look of the vehicle and you don't like to have any imperfections in it, this could also be something that you're not going to like very much. So they do wear the paint off. Again, the paint there is quite thin. So that's what causes that to wear off very easily. It does happen on every door where you frequently have passengers getting in or out. So if you do have constant passengers in the vehicle, you can expect to see this wear on all of the doors as well. Another thing with the interior is the steering wheels. The material that the steering wheel is made out of does wear out very, very quickly. So what you'll see from the photo on the screen at the moment is the top of the steering wheel has actually started to wear through the outer layer, and it's now very pitted. This can actually have quite an uncomfortable feeling on the hands, and it does get quite rough. It's almost a sandpaper feel. Really, really common for the frequent places on the steering wheel where your hands rest for this wear to happen. Overall, the interior of the Triton is a standard interior of a cheaper vehicle. Everything is plastic. It has vinyl floors throughout. It does feel in some aspects like it was quite cheaply made. When you're driving down bumpy roads, there are a few squeaks and rattles and groans and stuff in the interior. Not even a vehicle that's very old, but one of the newer vehicles as well. They do get a bit of a rattle in them. They do get a couple of creaks and moans. But as I said, it is one of the cheapest four-wheel drives on the market. So you do expect, the interior is not going to be that of your Hiluxes and your Rangers and bits and pieces like that. It is one of the cheaper vehicles, but you do notice that when you're sitting inside the vehicle. Okay, so following on with the engine stuff, there is a really common problem with the intercoolers on these 2.4 litre turbo diesel Tritons. On the left-hand side of the intercooler, where the plastic part where the pipe mounts on, joins to the metal part of the intercooler, so the core of the intercooler, they actually do crack around the plastic part of the intercooler. This will result in what you'll see is basically oil staining around the left-hand side of the intercooler. What you can see in the photo that I'm showing at the moment is actually the left-hand side of the intercooler. This ute is not leaking. This one's actually had a new intercooler fitted to it, but they are quite common to crack around the edge of the intercooler there, and you'll start to see a little bit of oil residue, which is just the oil that is recirculated back through the intake, actually weeps out through the cracks, and then you'll start to see a bit of oily and dirty residue build up around the left-hand side of the intercooler. If these do get bad enough, you can actually run the risk of losing boost pressure if they get really bad, because as pressure builds in the intake manifold, it essentially is escaping out of the crack in the intercooler. So really, really important thing to keep an eye on. If you are buying one of these second hand, just have a look through the front of the car. They are a little bit harder to see if they've still got the factory bumper on them. This one has an ARB bull bar, so a little bit easier to see through it. But really important that you check the intercoolers as well. Make sure there's no signs that one of them could be leaking. Okay, so while we're looking at the mechanical issues with the Triton, there have also been reports of issues with the 6-speed manual transmissions in these vehicles. The issue is the vehicle is actually slipping out of gear, or there's a large grinding noise when you're engaging first, second, or third. So Mitsubishi has a transmission repair kit, which I believe has reinforced gear selectors and synchronizers as part of that repair kit. So when you are looking at one of these things, make sure that you definitely take it for a drive. If it is a manual transmission, certainly select first, second and third. Make sure that there's no issues with sort of hard to select gears, under load, make sure they don't jump out of gears, and make sure that there is no grinding when you engage gears. If there is, it could need the transmission overhauling. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at with the Triton is the steering and suspension. Now, everyone knows Tritons are very common for creaky rear suspension. I'm just going to show you a quick video of what I mean by that. So as you saw in the video, that sound in the rear suspension, yes, this ute doesn't have the factory suspension in it. This is actually an Old Man Emu upgrade kit. This ute has been lifted, but the factory Tritons do this as well, pretty much from day dot. The rear suspension in these utes is renowned for being very loud, creaking, squeaking, doing all kinds of stuff. There is no sort of adverse effect on the vehicle. Sometimes in the Tritons they do have an issue where the rear springs need to be realigned, which can be done by virtually any mechanic. What causes the creaking in the springs is the little plastic spaces that sit between the leaf. They wear out very, very quickly, and then the leaf can actually start to rub metal on metal. Or what can happen is if there's a little bit of dirt or debris or anything like that that gets into those plastic spaces, it can actually cause friction between the spacer and the metal, causing the creaking noise in the spring. It is certainly will not have any issue on the vehicle. The only way you'll have an issue is, like I said, if the springs need to be realigned. But when you're going down bumpy roads or you're constantly moving the vehicle around at slow speeds or towing a trailer, this noise can get very, very loud and very, very annoying. So that was just some of the common issues with the 2.4 litre turbo diesel Mitsubishi MQ Triton. If you guys have had any of these issues, leave us a comment down below and just let us know how you got on with yours. What did you do to fix them? If you've had any different issues, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let us know. Let anyone else know that might be having similar issues to you, what you've had and what you've done to fix them. If you guys have got any further questions about the MQ Tritons or anything else you'd like to know about them, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to press the thumbs up button and press the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. I will be looking at doing a full review of the 2017 Mitsubishi MQ Triton a little bit later on. We've got a few of them that I want to do a review on. We've got a GLX Plus and a GLS. I'll do a bit of a comparison between the two. I'll do a fuel review of the car, what they're like to drive, what they're like to live with, what they're like on fuel, all that sort of stuff. So if you guys want to see that video as well, make sure you press the subscribe button, press the thumbs up, leave a comment, stay engaged with the channel. There are also a few recalls that are out on these Tritons as well. I'm not going to go into detail on what those recalls are, but if you are looking at buying one of these or you do happen to own one, I've left a link to all the recalls down in the description. So have a look, make sure that your vehicle's not affected by it. And if you do have any issues or you want to know anything more about them, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to press that subscribe button to stay updated, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.